A new report from The Guardian this week has revealed, after speaking with multiple sources from the Trump White House, that Donald Trump was frantically making phone calls to the little war room that had been set up by Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Bernie Kerik at the Willard Hotel, was making these frantic phone calls to these allies to figure out how to overturn the results of the 2020 election on the day of January 6th, the day of the Capitol riot, prior to the certification of the election later that day. Trump knew, and he told his allies this, according to the people who spoke to The Guardian, said that Mike Pence isn't on board. Mike Pence isn't going to do this. So what are our other options for getting this election overturned? And by overturned, what he meant was he wanted to get certain states' electors thrown out and replaced with pro-Trump electors. So basically, when you had a swing state, take state of Georgia, they send their Biden electors. He wanted to throw out the Biden ones and replace them with Trump electors, not just for Georgia, but for several other close swing states that would have given him the edge. So Giuliani, Eastman, Kerik, and a couple other characters chilling in the Willard Hotel were trying to come up with a plan, trying to help the frantic president. And then, of course, when the Capitol riot happened, that kind of threw things for a loop, and then the vote took place and they didn't have a chance to overturn the 2020 election. This is the clearest evidence we have so far that Donald Trump, up until that vote happened basically, was attempting, well, let's just call it what it is, sedition. An overthrow of the United States government. Because yes, this process was a governmental process that Donald Trump was doing everything possible to subvert and stop. So at this point, the fact that no criminal charges have been leveled against Donald Trump is blowing my mind. Because that has to happen now. That has to happen. We cannot have a U.S. Department of Justice that looks at all of this material and says, you know what, we're still not going to launch an investigation. Because that's how this goes. You can't just immediately go and charge him with, sedition or any other criminal charges related to this. You have to have the investigation first, but we can't even get to that point. Why? Nobody has a good answer for that, especially not Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the United States, that probably needs to go ahead and be replaced. This is clear as day. You start your investigation, you speak to The Guardian, you get the names of their sources, you bring those people in, you sit them down for, videotaped interviews on the record, you find out what they knew, you get their leads, you go from there and you launch your investigation that way. It's simple. Clear as day how to do this. But they're just not doing it. This is seditious behavior, if I've ever seen it. But again, it would be up to the courts to decide that. I'm not a judge, not in the jury, I'm not a lawyer. But this is what needs to happen to determine if what Donald Trump did that day does rise to the level of sedition or violation of any other federal crimes for trying to subvert the election, subvert the actions of Congress, and obstruct the transfer of power. That is what we are talking about here. That is what clearly, based on these conversations, according to the people in the White House, Trump was trying to do. So if the DOJ will not act on this, Merrick Garland needs to step down immediately. Those are your two options. Start the investigation or get the hell out of the way so somebody else can. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel for fresh content 7 days a week.